I'm horny, I'm young, I'm singing my song. I got a stiffy in my pants all day long.
Everything's sexy, everything's hot. People eating ice cream, I like it a lot.
There's ladies everywhere, bouncing titties, I got to stare. But one thing turns me off, politicians
talking about boring stuff.
I'm 18 yesterday, and I'm feeling quite okay. There's a lot of sexy stuff going on.
Look there, a woman in a thong.
I finally got the right to vote. I wanna be a part of the democracy. Do you see I'm demo crazy? It's my duty as a citizen, but it just won't turn me on. There is simply no response from my lawn.
Politics, come on, show me your tits, cause this ain't giving us stiffy dicks.
Your walk, your talk, your hair, your dress, your opinions simply don't impress.
Try to masturbate during your debate.
Mission impossible. You need to sex it up, you need to talk to me, you need to strip it down to reality.
I can't feel your groove, I can't feel your flow.
Then how's this motherfucker supposed to grow?
Seriously, I'm getting a boner from everything except from you.
Flowers,
Boner,
tables,
boner,
burgers,
boner,
my mother,
yeah,
Thai food,
boner,
Subway,
boner,
Second World War,
a raging boner,
garbage,
boner,
cancer,
boner,
Gaddafi,
stiffy,
Harry Potter,
hard on,
diarrhea,
boner,
dyslexia,
Nover,
Korea,
boner,
politics.
I finally got the right to vote. I wanna be a part of the democracy. Do you see I'm demo crazy? It's my duty as a citizen, but it just won't turn me on. There is simply no response from my lawn.
I can't get erection from the election. I can't get erection from the election. I can't get erection from the election. I can't get erection.
Finanskrisen i 2008-2009 har gått fra å være en finanskrise til å bli en gjeldskrise og en arbeidsløshetskrise.
Politics, come on, show me your tits, cause this ain't giving us stiffy dicks. Politics, come on, show me your tits, cause this ain't giving us stiffy dicks. Politics, come on, show me your tits, cause this ain't giving us stiffy dicks. I said politics, show me your tits, cause this ain't giving us stiffy dicks. Jens Stoltenberg, show me your dick. Knut Harreide, show me your dick. Erna Solberg, show me your tits. And Siv Jensen, show me your dick. If this election wants my erection, the election needs to elect my erect penis.